And what is going on, boys and girls? Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael. You know what? It's the RCWR show. I'm coming at you all. God, I have been up for a good minute now. I never thought that WrestleMania was going to go this long, but it did go this long. We're live right now as of almost 15 minutes before 12:30 a.m. on the East Coast for Monday morning, April 3rd, 2017. WrestleMania literally just went off the air. And I got to tell you, I had to like really straighten myself up before I came and did this show because I don't know how many of you all were in tears. I admit I've been a wrestling fan for many years. I go as far back to wrestling, like, my God, probably 84 is probably my earliest memories that I can recall. That's how long I've actually been a fan of wrestling. And I got to tell you, The Undertaker has been a large part of that for about 35 years. He's been active in the sport of professional wrestling. And I got to tell you, just coming just a few minutes removed off of what we just saw, that for me, as long as I have been a wrestling fan, was probably one of the most emotional moments that I had to go through ever. I mean, it is definitely right up there with when I found out the sad passing of Eddie Guerrero. It's definitely right up there with what all had went down with the Benoit tragedy. I mean, it came at me what we saw tonight with Undertaker retiring. It came at me just like those instances. So we're going to try to make sense out of everything that we all had saw together. For those of you that saw WrestleMania, and I know there's definitely a lot of you guys that's probably feeling a little melancholy right now, but pull up a chair and, we're going to try to do our very best to get through this together. But also at the same time, we're going to try to do our best to try to get through a lot of the events that had transpired tonight quickly. Because, I mean, it's almost 12:30 in the morning. I know there's a lot of you guys that either have school and or you got work in the morning. So we're going to try to see if we can limit this. If we can, we'll try to see if we can keep it to about an hour. We can be done way before that. We'll definitely go ahead and we'll do that. I'm live for the next little bit on YouTube and also on Spreaker.com. So feel free to pop your head in both of those. I got the chat on YouTube here. Shout out to those that's coming in. Make sure you throw the thumbs up, all that good jazz. So where do we want to begin, guys? Do we want to just go on ahead and, you know what? We opened up strong. We might as well talk a little bit more about what had went down with The Undertaker, and, we'll kind of backtrack that way. But yeah, as long as I have been a pro wrestling fan, like I said, it goes back to the early 80s. And God, I tell you, I've seen a lot of good, seen a lot of bad, experienced some controversy, but I tell you, that was just, and I guess for me personally, what really kind of made it so, I knew the time would come. I knew the day would come that Undertaker would be retiring. And it's so funny because when I was offering match predictions earlier last week, I called. I said, honestly, you got to have Undertaker pay it forward. This is all about Roman Reigns. It's his time. The WWE, they have a lot of faith in this young man. They see this guy being the face of the company for many years to come, despite how some fans may feel about him. He has a respected following. He is definitely a merchandise seller. Some interesting news had broke out going into WrestleMania weekend that reaffirmed just how strong of merchandise seller Roman Reigns is. So you just factor all that. This is somebody that they can invest in for years to come. And I told you guys when I was offering match predictions, I said, man, look, when it's all said and done, this is how it's going to go down, man. You got to have it pay forward, and you got to have Taker do the deed. You got to have him do it. Now, if you ask me honestly, I think it would have made much more sense. I think it would have been that much more impactful if it was a scenario where the Undertaker streak was still intact and maybe he came across Roman Reigns that way. So, I mean, if you kind of rewind it a little bit, if you're asking me, so wait a minute, Lee, you think maybe this should have went down 2 years ago, and maybe Undertaker should have been done 2 years ago? I would say yes, because as the years has progressed, it has really gotten more and more difficult to physically see the Undertaker in the ring. And look, let's not beat around the bush. First off, credit goes to Roman Reigns, credit goes to The Undertaker. They gave us a decent matchup. I will definitely admit that. At the same time, come on, we all have our eyes respectfully. We can be a hardcore WWE fan all we want to, but can we all be in agreement? There were so many botches in that match, whether it was a case of Roman messed up and or Undertaker messed up. There were definitely spots that was like, come on, we know you guys had to have like rehearsed this, got it down, like what's going on. And then the main drawing factor, Undertaker, what's going on with him? Man, he seems tired. He seems out of it. The energy, it just isn't there. I was paying very close attention to his movement throughout a lot of this matchup with Roman. And I was noticing, if you don't believe me, just go back and actually check it out. But for a majority of the match, Undertaker was pretty stationary. He was almost as stationary as going back to the Royal Rumble. And we know he's been dealing with nagging injuries for many years. There's been some injuries that he's had. He's been able to get a little bit of surgery done, but there's been other injuries, lingering injuries that like he needs to get the surgery and he needs to get the surgery done already. There's definitely something going on with his hip. One of the surgeries he's supposed to have, that's supposed to, for sure, finito his wrestling career. And Taker has been putting it off because, like he knows if he gets it, that's pretty much going to be it. But considering how things had came about with him last year, how he barely was able to get out of that WrestleMania matchup, and then you just factor in going into what we had with this WrestleMania, he was pretty stationary. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but like I don't even recall him doing his trademark old school. You guys recall seeing old school? I mean, that's the point that we've gotten to right now. Like the day Undertaker can't do the old school move anymore, it's kind of like, damn, yeah, I guess maybe it is time. But there were definitely some spots in that matchup that was just kind of like, it started off decent. I must admit, it started off rather decent, but then like probably after about a handful of minutes, you just started noticing Taker was kind of getting a little bit steamed out. One of the moves that stood out to me, he actually had tried to do the last ride on Roman Reigns. And we've seen, if you watch the career of The Undertaker since he started doing the last ride, you're like, oh, he's got this. I mean, he does it effortlessly. But here was a scenario tonight where he's trying to do the last ride and there was not enough height on it. I mean, he basically barely picked up Roman and almost kind of dropped him. Like he just did not have the strength. And, it doesn't matter how good you may look, how much cardio you do, and all that. I mean, if your back is kind of screwed up, your hips ain't really on point, your knees kind of whatever, yeah, 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to be able to lift up a big dude and do that trademark signature move that you've been doing for so many years. So there were many instances where you're looking at it, and I don't know how you all felt, but I'm looking at a lot of the moves that was going on in this matchup, and I'm going, man, please let this match end already because this is just too painful to watch. It definitely reminded me a lot of the Shawn Michaels Nature Boy Ric Flair retirement match. I mean, just to see Roman Reigns' body language after a while, he's like, stay down, man. Come on, just stay down. And Taker just kept getting up. You're just like, oh, it's coming. We're getting ready to go home, man. We're getting ready to go home. Here it comes. Oh my God. But I mean, Roman really digging down deep. I love the booking that they told for this match. I mean, to have Roman try to like figure out, okay, I don't came at this man with all my signature moves. I don't came at him with so many Superman punches. What the hell, man? What the hell do I have to do to beat this guy? and Superman punches, couple of spears. I mean, at one point we saw Roman Reigns. He just had to go belligerent on the Undertaker with a steel chair because this match ended up becoming a no holds barred, and it was awesome. How fitting was it for those of you that had watched WrestleMania? How fitting was it that we had good old Jr. Jim Ross call the action? Now, I just want to have there be a record straight here. I know we got some weird reports that's floating around, but we need to state the facts. So, with regards to Jim Ross, right before his wife Jan had passed away, he had met with the WWE and they were trying to iron out a few details because they were interested in having some type of a new relationship with Jim Ross. And that consists of doing some contributions for the WWE network, providing some commentating, some help with future WWE DVD releases, and also calling some matches for WWE TV. So I think that it's kind of interesting how everything just kind of came a little bit full circle. I'm sure JR was probably pretty emotional seeing what he had saw. I would think it pales in comparison to what he has experienced with the recent passing of his wife, for those of you that maybe were not aware of that. But it was nice hearing JR. I mean, what a bittersweet way to that's it for the Undertaker to put a bookmark on it then by having good old Jim Ross calling it. So I was really happy and ecstatic that he had a really great ringside seat to be able to call the action and call the Undertaker's final matchup. But yeah, man, Roman Reigns going belligerent with a steel chair. Let's pick it up kind of towards the end of the match for you guys, because I mean, pretty much after we saw him do the series of still chair shots to the back of the Undertaker, there was actually a spot where Roman Reigns, I don't know if he was maybe looking to do the last ride on the Undertaker, but whatever was going on, I don't know if maybe Roman went to try to grab Undertaker the wrong way or what, but it looked as though physically Undertaker he just did not have any more gas left in the tank. He was not working with Roman. I mean, Roman tried to pick him up a couple of times, and you're kind of like, who's messing this up? Is Roman messing up the spot here in this point in the matchup, or is it Undertaker? Is Undertaker out of steam? What's going on here? And so, pretty much leading up into the final moments of the match, we saw Roman Reigns. He tried to go for a spear, covered the Undertaker. That was only a 2 count. Roman looking pretty frustrated, wondering what the hell he has to do. He's like, okay, you know what? Psh, bump this. So he waits for the Undertaker to get up and he just bounces off of the ropes a couple of times. It reminded me almost of a classic WWE game, and I can't think of the title right now. It was none of the SmackDown versus Raw games. It definitely wasn't the first couple of SmackDown games, but it was one of the WWE games where you heard Michael Cole. He just kept saying, into the ropes, into the ropes, off the ropes, into the ropes, coming off the ropes, into the ropes. And I mean, that's just what I was literally thinking when I saw Roman Reigns just like, and I'm going, do it already. It almost reminded me of that black and white skit that's floating around on YouTube. And Roman Reigns like spears the hell out of every single body in the matchup and he wins, like even though he wasn't penciled in to take on those opponents. It almost reminded me of that one. I mean, it was weird. It was like a weak finish because you're going, okay, Taker's standing on his own 2 feet. No, he's dazed, a little bit confused, but surely he sees this guy bouncing off of the ropes. And I don't know, maybe you're going to use his momentum against him and send him flying through the ropes out to the ring. But pretty odd finish, but wham, off the ropes a couple of times. Boom. Roman hits Taker with the spear, picks up the 1, 2, 3, and that pretty much was it. And pretty emotional night, man. I mean, to see the Undertaker, really soaking it all in, taking it all in to the point he puts on his ring attire again, the coat and the hat, and he just takes it all off, takes his gloves off. Very symbolic, putting it right there in the middle of the ring. And you're just like, oh, I mean, I got to tell you, with regards to this year's WrestleMania, They did a really good job in creating memories, and it's something that has kind of been absent for the recent WrestleManias to a certain degree. To a certain degree, but this WrestleMania, I'd have to say, I think for a lot of us, especially those of us that have been following the WWE promotion for many years now, this is definitely going to be a match that we're going to be talking about for many years to come. Something that we're going to be sharing if our kids aren't already in the picture, our future kids, something we're going to be sharing with our grandkids. It's definitely one of those WrestleManias you're going to be looking back on, because there was a few moments that was here present with WrestleMania tonight that's going to have you talking for years to come. And honestly, first thing that will come to your mind is, hey, I remember where I was. And think about that. For a lot of us that's been watching pro wrestling for many years, we remember certain things. We remember what went down during the Monday Night War. We remember when WCW went out of business, as far as like the date and all that. We remember the final WCW where Vince McMahon had showed up, right? We remember when Eddie Guerrero passed. We remember when the Chris Benoit tragedy had went down. We remember when 9/11 happened. There's so many instances that we recall from history. And as a wrestling fan, I don't care if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now, you're always going to know where you were as a wrestling fan when it came to WrestleMania 33. Whether you were in attendance or not, you're going to be like, yeah, I remember that very well, because that was the night that The Undertaker retired. And I watched it. I watched it with my own two eyes. So, I mean, it's on the one hand, you say to the WWE, great freaking memories. But I mean, honestly, I got to give a lot of credit to the WWE. They did, honestly, what I have been wanting them to do for so many years with some of these veteran part timers that's coming in. And hey, as much as I have always been a fan of The Undertaker, I will be the first to tell you any day of the week, yeah, he's a part timer. Let him pay it forward, pass the torch, man. So I'm really glad that it ended on such a note where it's passing the torch on to the next upcoming generation. And it's going to be up to the WWE. It's definitely going to be up to Roman Reigns. It's going to be up to those guys respectfully to make sure that with what we all have watched together, that it does not go in vain. Now more than ever, what we watched tonight, not only does it solidify WWE's commitment to Roman Reigns, but this should also solidify for WWE that, okay, for all the years of service that The Undertaker has given to the sport of professional wrestling, two occasions we've asked him to do the deed. We've been able to capitalize on Brock Lesnar, and now we're coming to what just came about with Roman Reigns. And it's like, okay, now more than ever, because when it's all said and done, a couple more years, that's probably going to be it for Brock Lesnar. But you got Roman, if you do it right, you got Roman at least, and assuming he stays healthy, you got him at least for almost 15 years. If he can stay healthy, 11 years tops. 11 years if you're lucky, 15 if he remains healthy, stays out of trouble and all that. It just really depends. But for sure, the next 11 years, you can get some stuff out of him. So really great moment right there. But let's talk about the rest of the card that came about now that we kind of addressed that. I really couldn't think of any other way to talk about WrestleMania than, honestly, like, how can you not kick off the after show than by talking about that? So we're going to definitely, I'll have a lot more to say on this Tuesday night's the RCWR show with regards to The Undertaker and all that. But in closing for now, thank you, Undertaker, as a lifelong wrestling fan, somebody that has been watching your career since you debuted. Honestly, thank you. Thank you for the great memories. Thank you for some of the best quality of matches that you're able to deliver. Thank you. I mean, I know WWE had a large part in creating the character, but I tell you, if Mark Conway wasn't in the right place at the right time, there just would not be an Undertaker. Anybody that, like, at one point was a wrestling fan, Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, there are the usual suspects. So, for a character to be so iconic and be able to exist all these years later. I mean, that's just really a good testament to itself on how intrigued everybody is of that character, not to mention how many times that character has been reinvented and can also stay current with the times. I tell you, got to give our hats off to that man. So let's talk some more stuff. By the way, on a little bit of a happier note, this after show that we're doing for you all, we are going to be announcing some of the bottom winners for our WrestleMania prize giveaway. It ties into our 2016 RCWR Show awards. And with regards to Simpson Harry, welcome. This is how we usually do it here on the RCWR Show. Unless it's something that's like we have to talk about it off the break, like what we just talked about with Taker. Typically, we try to pay respect to those that maybe did not get a chance to check out the pay-per-view event, and we rewind it back and we talk about all the matches that had came about. You know, a lot of folks actually prefer it if we go in that respected order. So if you're a little bit impatient, you can't really wait. You know, you can maybe come back in about, I don't know, 25 minutes. Maybe I'll get to that spot that you're very interested in, you know, me talking about. But we got to make sure we show a lot of love to those that honestly did not get to check out WrestleMania. All right. So again, we're going to announce some of the bottom winners for our WrestleMania 33 prize giveaway. That's going to be coming up in a little bit. And shout out to Freddie. Freddie, check. I see your message, but Freddie, check your email. I had sent you a message over the weekend. It is with regards to Patreon. That is all I have to say respectfully. But check that and get back to me when you guys get the opportunity. All right. So let's continue on some of the action that we had got. The pre-show, I did check it out. I checked out the whole 2 hours. I got to say, I loved it. The cast looked really awesome. I'm talking about Renee Young, Booker T, Shawn Michaels. They all looked really good. Shawn Michaels, I felt really bad for Shawn Michaels, man, because Shawn Michaels, they kept going to him and they were expecting him to do some plugging for the WWE network. But Shawn, bless his heart, he really didn't know what the hell he was supposed to say. And they just kept making fun of him the rest of the night after that. He was a really good sport about it, though. But for those of you that maybe had saw the pre-show, and there was really no way you could dodge the pre-show because the pre-show actually had some really great matches that like you really should give a damn about, such as Neville taking on Austin Aries for the Cruiserweight title. So, but other than the pre-show panel, something else had jumped out in my mind with regards to the pre-show panel that I wanted to touch upon. Whoa, did anybody else notice how Shawn Michaels had came off a little bit unprepared? Really came off as though he was trying his best to search for the right words to say. And then it was like just when he thought he had something, he would interrupt himself mid-sentence and he would switch it. It was almost kind of like, and then I ate birthday cake and it was so delicious. It was yellow frosting and it was yellow cake. Walked the dog the other day. I mean, Shawn Michaels was talking literally like that. That's how he was talking. And I was just kind of like, wait a minute, Shawn, slow down a little bit. Just pick one thing and just run with it, my brother. You know, you're going to be all right. Come on, Mr. WrestleMania. So I wasn't quite sure what that was about, man, because I'm like, wait a minute. I've never seen Shawn Michaels kind of like this before. Like, even in his heyday, he was always pretty on point to a certain extent, but I don't know if maybe it was the jitterbugs with him or what. Let's talk about that Neville Austin Aries cruiserweight match. That was a damn good pre-show opener. I loved that matchup. Respectfully, that was freaking awesome. Almost to the point like I wish so much it was actually on the WrestleMania card itself. I mean, and look, a lot of these matches, with the exception to Cena, Nikki Bella taking on Miz and Maurice, a lot of the other matches had got plenty of time put into it. And also Goldberg Lesnar. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But actually, now that I'm thinking about it, even the SmackDown Women's title, I mean, according to the card here, I'm looking at about 3, potentially 4 matches that were pretty damn short. But I love the fact that 15 minutes and some change went into the Cruiserweight Championship match between Neville, Austin Aries. By the way, give it up to the Orlando crowd. They were holding it down for a majority of this. They really, really came. They represented. Kudos to the WWE and their production team. I mean, this was probably, I have my favorite arenas for WrestleManias, but I got to say, the arena that they had, the way they had set it up for this year, I really, really love this. And they broke a new attendance record, as apparently at the Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida, they had 75,245 in attendance strong, breaking a new record. So good stuff right there. Yeah, let's talk about this Neville Austin Aries match. Lived up to all the hype, lived up to, I think, all of our expectations. It was an instant classic. Let's pick it up towards the end of the match. We had saw Neville. He ended up catching Austin Aries in a snap German suplex. Aries was looking to make a comeback, but Neville had stopped him with a discus forearm, proceeded to drop Aries on his head with another German. Went for a cover, but Aries managed to kick out at 2. Neville stomps Aries in the face in the corner. Neville then tried to pull Aries over and goes for the Rings of Saturn, but Aries turns it into a 2 count. And they pretty much went back and forth after that. We had saw Austin Aries apply the last chancery submission hold, and it looked as though he was going to get it done, but without the referee seeing it, because the referee, from his vantage point, ref was looking for the submission from Neville. What he didn't see was Neville's free hand that basically clawed the left eye of Austin Aries. And, you know, as you all know, Austin Aries had recently got some surgery done on that eye. So that automatically had Austin Aries break the hold. And once he had break the hold, Neville had pretty much took advantage of that, did a nice strong kick to the head, went up to the top rope, looked for the red arrow. Actually, no. Correction. After he did the rake to the eyes, Neville had did a cheap shot to him. And then he went to the top rope as the referee was trying to warn him to come down, but he went on ahead, hit him with the red arrow, picked up the W. So Neville, still your respected cruiserweight champion. He is still your king of the cruiserweights. See, our next matchup, we had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I gotta tell you, man, look, I will show some love where it needs to be shown, and I will definitely give it up for DMV's own Mojo Rawley, because he's the one that had won that event. But hey, man, look, just because you're from the DMV, that don't mean I gotta like, oh, but you're from the DMV, come on, yay. No, I gotta tell you, the booking for this match, it just really felt like a big old fuck you from the WWE to everybody that wanted to see either Braun Strowman or Sami Zayn win it this year. That's how it had legitimately came off to me. I was just scratching my head, just kind of going, well, damn, hope you got some really big plans for one of these guys, for both of these guys in the coming weeks, because I'm sorry, but Mojo Rawley, yeah, he's agile. He's cool for a big dude, but I don't see world heavyweight champion. I don't see selling out WrestleManias. I don't see, hey, he's one of our top merchandise sellers. I'm not seeing that. I'm not saying I will never see that. Just as it stands right now, I'm not seeing any of these things. So I'm just trying to understand, like, why Mojo Rawley? And then most importantly, is this win for Mojo really going to do something for the 30 going on 31-year-old? Is this really going to propel him to that next level? Does WWE truly have plans for Mojo Rawley in the upcoming weeks going into the next 3-6 months? That's what I'm very curious about, because seeing Mojo win it was just kind of a real strong head scratcher to be honest with you all. I like the mentality that went into this battle royal because you had Big Show in there, and then once Braun came in there, Braun and Big Show, they thought maybe they were gonna lock it up, but the other guys they denied that. They were like, "Nah, this is our opportunity. We need to try to get both of these guys out of the ring." And for the most part, they did their job, fighting any and everybody that was coming after them. We saw both men, they did their own share of eliminations, but when it was all said and done, they both got ganged up on, and they both got eliminated pretty early. That just made the fans go, what the hell?" They actually kind of booed it a little bit. So at this point, you're kind of hoping, well, maybe it's going to be Sami Zayn. And it was kind of looking like maybe it was going to go that way because I believe towards the end, it came on down to Sami Zayn. Who was the other guy from NXT? Killian Dane, Tender My Balls, or Jinder Mahal. Who was the other guy? There was another person that was in there that was kind of like, really? He's part of this as well? Like, really? And, oh yeah, Mojo Rawley. And then we saw this interesting spot that had came about, and you just knew that, okay, yeah, it's about to go down. Shit's about to hit the fan. You see Rob Gronkowski, who is friends with Mojo Rawley, and you see Jinder Mahal, he's beating the crap out of Mojo, and he's actually bragging about it, taunting at Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski, of course, he plays for the Patriots, Super Bowl champion Patriots. And Gron, he doesn't like this. So Gron, while I was about to say Tender My Balls. I'm gonna keep calling him that. I've been calling him that for so fucking long. Like, why do I need to stop now? Seriously, why do I need to stop now? So anyway, Tender My Balls. He takes Mojo Rawley in the ring, and we see Rob Gronkowski. He actually tries to climb over the barrier, and this blonde-haired security woman, she just came out of nowhere, and she was grabbing the hell out of Mojo. And you're kind of going, wait a minute, lady, he's supposed to be part of the act. Let him go. And you actually saw like other security members and all that. They were actually coming, as well as like a few WWE personnel. They're kind of like, he's okay. He is supposed to be involved in this match. And she kind of walked away smiling a little bit. So it's nice to see that she was being a good sport about it. And hopefully she doesn't receive any type of disciplinary action. I mean, after all, she was just doing her damn job. And you know what? It's good that you're being that damn alert. Better to be safe than sorry, even if you did get a memo, you know? So we see Gronkowski, he gets in there, pretty much tackles the hell out of Tender. And we did see Mojo take advantage of that, eliminated him. Sammy got eliminated kind of like way before that, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Mojo Rawley is your Andre the Giant Memorial winner for this year. I can't really be too excited. I really can't, because it's like, okay, great. WWE, what are you going to do with this victory for Mojo in the coming weeks? That's what I'm more interested in. So I really hope that this just was not a way to kind of swerve everybody. If you ask me what exactly is possibly going to be happening next for the guys that I just mentioned that should have won it, honestly, I'm looking at, I'm looking at Sami Zayn. I'm just picturing a continuation of this friction, this heat, this thing that he has with Stephanie McMahon. I still feel in my heart of hearts that the end game to that needs to result in Sami Zayn like becoming a world heavyweight champion. That to me seems to be the end game. It's like, why are you doing all this harassing of Sami Zayn, this picking of him, somewhat bullying of him, unless there's going to be some type of an ultimate payoff at the end? So I still feel, if I'm booking it, like that's the direction that you need to go to see him go up to that next tier and becoming a true main eventer, fighting for a chance to become the Universal Champion. So I would like to think maybe that's one direction that you're possibly going to go. if you want to, you could definitely revisit Samoa Joe, which, by the way, was not present at tonight's WrestleMania. No cameo by Samoa Joe at all. A lot of folks were maybe hoping he was going to show up in the Andre, but he didn't. So that's that. With regards to Braun Strowman, I guess you could maybe piggy on back to Big Show. I guess maybe you can kind of, if you want, you can kind of go in that direction. But then maybe shortly after that, honestly, I have been saying this off and on for the past couple of weeks now, which is if you're not going to have Braun Strowman, and I said this many weeks back, if you're not going to have Braun Strowman win the Andre the Giant Memorial, then whenever Money in the Bank rolls, surely you let him be the winner of that. That's got to be the end game, because you can't keep doing these silly little spots. You're building him up so good, and then just when it seems like he's definitely for sure going to be going in one direction, it's the complete opposite. So I would imagine that's probably going to be happening for him in the very near future. We shall wait and see how that comes about. But it should definitely be a very interesting Raw in less than 24 hours as we see what comes about in the next chapters for both of those men. So that was pretty much your pre-show in a nutshell. Let's talk about some more matches that we got going on here. I'm looking at the full card, and we had a lot of matches for this year's WrestleMania. This has to be the first WrestleMania that went into some serious OT. I'm telling you, serious OT. I'm thinking we can go to the actual pay-per-view card. No, we had actually one more pre-show match. I did watch it. It's coming back to me now. It was Dean Ambrose taking on Baron Corbin for the Intercontinental title. About 10 minutes of a match. In all honesty, it felt like a SmackDown main event match. You know, both guys, they really did not like, okay, it's Mania, let's bring it. Because, I mean, at least I can go back to the first couple of pre-show matches. These guys were acting like we need to go out there and we need to steal the show. We need to get people talking about what we did in our respective match. Neville, Aries, they did that. I mean, hell, even though Mojo Rawley had won, just the fact that we're talking, hey, guess who won? Freaking Mojo. What? Get out of it. Yeah, Mojo won. And then who'd have thought Jinder would last as long as he did? You know, that also had people talking. Sami Zayn lasting as long as he did. You know, that had people talking. So even though we wanted for Sami, really Braun, to win, just the fact that it went in a different direction, when it was all said and done, the Andre the Giant Memorial, it was a bit refreshing. To a degree, it was refreshing. But you go to Dean Ambrose, Baron Corbin, it just felt like a SmackDown main event match. Actually, kind of slightly below that, but you get the gist of it. Honestly, the closing moments of this matchup, we had saw Dean Ambrose. He was just getting the tar kicked out of him by Baron Corbin. Baron was actually looking for end of days, and we saw Dean Ambrose. He just did like this sweet counter to it, and basically countered it into a Dirty Deeds DDT, and picked up the 1-2-3 to retain his Intercontinental title. So that was actually a pretty good spot. To the actual card we go. By the way, can you all in the chat help me out and let me know the name of the woman that was singing the national anthem to kick off WrestleMania? Because I want to make sure I show her some love. She did a really good job with singing the national anthem. Really, really good. I was quite pleased. I usually, when I hear the anthems come on for the WWE pay-per-views, depending, I usually will mute it or I'll go do something else. But I actually was curious how she sounded, and I gotta tell you, such a very sweet voice, very lovely. Definitely, let me see if I'm pronouncing that right. Tinashe, Joe? Tinashe, Tinasche. I'm assuming that's Tinashe or Tanashi. She did a really good job, a damn good job. To the point, I'm kind of curious what's going on with her music now, man. So I don't know. I might check out a couple of her tunes, man. She did pretty good tonight. So what else we got? We're talking about what match? AJ Styles, Shane McMahon. Yeah, that was a damn good opener for WrestleMania. I love that. Great matchup. It did not disappoint. Well, some of you all may be disappointed because I know there were a lot of you all that were probably looking for freaking Shane McMahon to do some type of a insane elbow drop from somewhere high above, right? Maybe from the nosebleed section at WrestleMania, go up to the highest structure. But no, we didn't get any of that. This was a damn good matchup. Talk about putting a really good book in to what has been a really awesome year for AJ Styles since he came to the WWE. Really proud of the guy. Honestly, if it would have been up to me, I'm sure many of you all as well, different circumstances, it really would have been awesome to see him go into WrestleMania still as the WWE champion and leaving as the WWE champion. But the fact he was involved in such a great, high profile match, uh, I just couldn't help but just say, you know what? I'm going to take the bitter in with the sweet. And he actually really did have a good match with Shane O'Mac. Shane O'Mac is always surprising me. I mean, to see Shane O'Mac, even though it did not connect, to see him do a Shining Star press from the top ropes, I'm going, damn, I didn't even know Shane McMahon could still do that. I almost have forgot that that used to be part of his repertoire back in the day. I totally have forgot the man did that. And to see him at like, how old is Shane now? 46, going on 47, or he's already at 47? Because he just had a birthday. So I think he's 47 now. So to see him do that spot, it was like, damn, insane. That was simply freaking insane. Closing moments of that matchup, we saw Shane McMahon. He tried to go for a elbow drop through the table, but AJ had moved out of the way. Shane crashes through the table. AJ brings him back into the ring as the referee tries to make the count. Shane had refused medical attention before AJ brought him into the ring. AJ tried to go for a phenomenal forearm, but Shane had turned that into a wicked DDT. That was a nice, good spot. Shane then dragged AJ over to the corner, goes back to the top, and we told you about the shooting stars press, but AJ had moved out the way. AJ had crawled to the apron to wait for Shane to get up, hit him with the phenomenal forearm to go for the cover. We did see a failed attempt at the coast to coast by AJ Styles. Shane made him pay for that. This was like way before the finish to the match. Shane did make him pay for that because he pretty much was like, let me show you how it's done. And he did manage to do a coast to coast. But I mean, everything was pretty much mainly contested in the ring when it was all said and done. Now, for the spot that I told you with the trash can and all that, well, you got to understand the referee at one point actually got taken out by accident. And AJ Styles actually tried to take advantage of that. It failed for him. Shane managed to capitalize on that, but he wasn't able to get the win off of that. So I would imagine going into SmackDown this coming week, we're going to see AJ Styles. He's going to have some serious bragging rights coming on out there. You can't help but wonder if that bravado is maybe going to create such arrogance where maybe he continues to look to have some type of a title shot opportunity. How upset is Shane McMahon going to be at the fact that he got defeated at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania? And keep in mind that since Shane has been back with the WWE, he is now 0-2 at WrestleMania. So is Shane going to get so burned up at what had happened losing at WrestleMania that, I don't know, maybe he says, hey, AJ, yeah, you're fired. Who knows? It could very well happen because I know a lot of people they would love to see for AJ go on over to Raw. Of course, I know you guys are probably checking out the rumors that's out there. There's reports floating around that maybe Roman Reigns is going to head on over to SmackDown. I'll talk a little bit more about that on Tuesday night, but for now, we'll just keep it to the talk of WrestleMania. But some interesting ideas with regards to AJ Styles going into this Tuesday's SmackDown. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. Go to our next matchup that we have on the card here, which was Kevin Owens taking on Chris Jericho for the United States title. These two, pretty good technical matchup. Love this. Jericho coming out to a new entrance, by the way. His Titantron entrance had changed. Music still the same, but the Titantron image, that's now different, as now it's incorporating the list of Jericho. His props was nice too, because as he was making his way down the ramp, that ramp was like so freaking long. That was like the longest ramp that I have seen for a WrestleMania in quite a long time, if not ever. I mean, you can do some serious thinking as you're going down that ramp. You guys seen that ramp? I mean, that was just insane. That was like a long walk, let me tell you. Can you just imagine like all the people that lost and they gotta now take that long ass walk back up to the gorilla position? You would hope that maybe there was a ride waiting to take them on back. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, pretty good matchup that we had here for the United States Championship. I'll pick it up towards the end of the match. We had saw Jericho. He tried to apply the walls of Jericho, or was it Owens? No, Owens tried to apply the walls of Jericho, but Jericho had managed to break that. We see both of these guys pretty much go back and forth. Jericho had managed to counter a corner cannonball as he had pulled Owens into another walls of Jericho. He finally had managed to lock it in. Owens makes it to the bottom rope to break the hold, and it was pretty sweet how they had did that too, because after that went down, we saw Jericho. He kicked out of a pop-up power bomb. Owens yells at Jericho about he was never his best friend. Jericho turns a pop-up power bomb into a code breaker. That was a really nice spot. And we thought maybe that was going to be like the 1, 2, 3, but Kevin Owens managed to actually get just an index finger onto the rope for a 2 count. Yes, just an index finger. Crowd was really eating that up. They were really into this matchup, but when they saw that particular spot go down, they really were feeling that. So from there, Owens, what happens after that? We see Owens, he would end up catching Jericho on the apron, power bombed him into the apron because the action did eventually go outside. After Owens did that, he brought him back into the ring, pretty much went for the cover, and that was your 1, 2, 3. Interesting that this played out the way that it did, because I thought for sure maybe Samoa Joe would come down at ringside, make some type of a cameo, maybe to try to help out Kevin Owens. And who knows, maybe you could say it backfired. Maybe Jericho retained. There was a part of me that was maybe thinking Samoa Joe would maybe go into Monday Night Raw, do something to Jericho, maybe take the United States title off of him. That was actually one idea I was kind of thinking about late, very late going into tonight's WrestleMania, but that didn't play out like that. There was also just another part of me that was just like, well, maybe Samoa Joe is just going to come down just to be helping out, but he did not do that. So that was pretty interesting. Really, longest ramp since WrestleMania 19? I can see that. That was a pretty long ramp as well. I would admit that. I think this is probably the new number one though. But yeah, your new United States champion, Kevin Owens. Like the Fatal 4-Way match, the elimination match that we have for the Raw Women's title between Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, Bayley. They all had some pretty good entrances, man, especially Bayley. Charlotte, not so much. It was just pretty much fireworks. Nia Jax really didn't have anything going on. She pretty much was walking down the ramp like a model at a plus size women fashion show. I mean, she was strutting. I mean, she was doing her nice little power walk and all that. I was loving it. I ain't complaining. I was actually loving it. Sasha Banks, her entrance was kind of recycled. We basically saw her riding the back of some old Chicago style looking gangster vehicle. Wasn't really anything special. It's like we pretty much have seen that before. So it didn't really seem like this year when you look at some of the entrances, many of the entrances that we had got for WrestleMania this year, it really didn't seem as not extravagant, but as thought provoking as previous WrestleManias. It was almost kind of like they just wanted to take it easy this year. And I don't know if maybe they were breaking the bank a little bit on production as it was or what, but I just really wasn't that impressed with a lot of the entrances that we had got. Honestly, just kind of looking back on it now, if I were to even kind of like who had the best entrance for WrestleMania, just looking at the card offhand, honestly, I would have to go with, believe it or not, even though we've seen it so many times, just the fact that so many people were in harmony when the guy had came out, I just was like, damn, that's really impressive. I have to give it up to Bray Wyatt. You know, I mean, even though it was a traditional Bray Wyatt entrance, just to see everybody with their cell phones, I mean, that was just like, wow, you're trying to tell me that like 75,000 strong are actually putting up some type of a light in support of Bray Wyatt. So for me, that was like a really awesome entrance. Other than that, nobody else really jumps out in my mind. I'm honestly looking at the card, and I'm telling you guys, as far as entrances go, nobody really had that like that was a damn cool entrance. Some people may be like, well, what about the Authority entrance? I'll get to that in a second, but ha ha ha. Let me say that for now. But the women, they had a pretty good matchup, man. I love the mentality that went into this elimination match for the Raw Women's title. All three girls decided they were going to gang up on Nia Jax. They ganged up on her early. So I thought that was a really good story to tell, because it's like, okay, you know, if you try to face this girl one on one, she's probably going to freaking outmaneuver you. She's probably going to outpower you. So it ain't worth it. So why not put differences to the side and let's take this girl out? And that's exactly what we had saw go down, as they all have formed a nice alliance with each other. And there was a really cool spot that came about where we saw all three of them actually do their own female shield version of a power bomb to Nia Jax. And man, was that like a insane sick spot. I love that spot, man. They did a basically a triple power bomb, if you will, kind of like what the Shield used to do. And then as soon as they did that triple team, all three of them laid on top of each other to make sure Nia couldn't kick out, and she pretty much was eliminated that way. So after that had went down, we see Charlotte. She's like, "We did it! We did it! We did it! High five, everybody! High five!" And they weren't trying to high five her, so she pretty much told them, "Well, you know what? You two now go at it. Come on, let's see it already. I'm just gonna wait out here." And she actually waited. You know, we saw Bayley, Sasha Banks. They got it on for a little bit. But we saw Charlotte at one point. She came on in there. She decided, hey, I'm smelling a little bit of blood. Let me get on in here. So we had saw Charlotte. She actually had eliminated Sasha Banks. The way that had came about, closing moment, Sasha had rolled up Charlotte for a 2 count, but Charlotte kicked out, and she actually got to the turnbuckle that she had exposed slightly earlier during the match, and Charlotte covered for a pin, and that had put Sasha out of contention for the title. But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the turnbuckle that Charlotte had exposed earlier, she was able to capitalize on that and have Sasha Banks go through that. So it pretty much was down to Bayley and Charlotte. Closing moments of that one, Charlotte had hit the mat hard as Bayley was in the corner Charlotte tried to charge, and at the same time, she got hit by the same exposed turnbuckle as Sasha did. So it's kind of funny how isn't it ironic, right? Irony, how it comes back into the fold. Bayley pulled herself up, connects with a Macho Man elbow, picks up the W that way. Bayley still your Raw Women's Champion. I mean, that like came out of nowhere. I was kind of taken back because I thought for sure my girl Charlotte was going to tap out, match was going to continue. But you know what? I love when from time to time, oh, elbow drop. Okay. I miss the days when elbow drop. So I can't complain, man, because I'm that same dude that loves some really good old school throwback wrestling. So I don't mind when you got little stuff like that that happens from time to time. So after that, I got a video package from Friday's WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. By the way, for those of you that maybe had missed that, I actually did review it here on YouTube. It's also going to be available in audio format probably later this week, because I think what I'm going to do with this Tuesday's RCWR show, I'm probably going to end up making like a jam-packed 3-hour special. I'll probably do like maybe an hour of new stuff, and then maybe we'll rewind it back. Those of you that had missed WrestleMania, the NXT coverage, I'll probably jam those two together. Hey, let's do this right now. I want to go on ahead and I want to announce some of the bottom winners for our WrestleMania prize giveaway. It basically had tied into our 2016 RCWR Show awards. So if you guys were following me on Twitter and Facebook, right down to earlier today, just a couple hours before Mania kicked off, I actually had shared an image with you all letting you know how winners were going to be picked. And just to basically recap in a nutshell, basically I am using a website that's a random list picker. And basically what I did, you can see the screenshot on Twitter or Facebook, I basically had put in the first name of all the people who entered, and I also put like the city that they're from, and I have it all numbered, and I basically put everybody that had entered into a little box, and it just generates automatically one person. That's how it goes. So I had counted all the prizes that I have up for grabs, and I have 19 prizes. I repeat, I have 19 prizes total that are up for grabs. So what we're going to do right now is I am going to announce the bottom 10. Now remember, the grand prizes, those aren't going to be given until Tuesday night. That's going to be given to the top winners. And the ultimate grand prize is 5 wrestling DVDs, brand new. Basically, it could be from the past, present, or something that's going to be coming out in the very near future. But you get 5 wrestling DVDs. Also, that's going to be going to the top winners, assuming they do not have the WWE Network. There's actually going to be 3 WWE Network subscriptions that's going to be given out. So, if you're trying to like, I don't have to pay WWE for a month. No, keep paying for the WWE Network. Try to hook up a friend, or if it's you that wants the WWE Network and you don't have the WWE Network, then great, this applies to you. But that's basically how we're going to do it. So tonight, we're just going to worry about the bottom winners, and the names that I pick, I'm going to be emailing you. Not tonight. I will email you first thing Monday afternoon, let you know you won, let you know what prizes I have up for grabs. And basically, whoever hits me up first and you're like, well, I want this prize, I scratch it off the list, and I pretty much let those that reply know what I have remaining. So without any further ado, let's go ahead. I'm going to announce 5 right now, and I will announce 5 more later on during the show here. So let's generate this and see what we got. All right, let's pick one. Wish there was a drum roll. BRY from Maryland. BRY from Maryland. So let's see. BRY from Maryland. Got to make a little list here. for our bottom winners. So that takes care of BRY from Maryland. All right, we got to do another generate. Let's do this again. I actually like this. This is pretty fun, man. I'm glad I numbered it all too. Otherwise, I'd be here all night trying to find out where everybody is. So this is awesome. All right. So again, BRY from Maryland. That's one of our bottom winners. Let's go for number 2. Rick Renansler. Rick Renansler. He didn't put down the city that he's from, but Rick, he had one. All right, so that's good. Let's eliminate him. And let's put him right here. Got to do copy paste. Work with me, guys. Work with me. Those of you that's going to be checking out the audio version, all this is going to be edited out. So it's just one nice, big, smooth joint. So let's keep going here. Copy paste. All right, let's try this. All right, our third winner. Aaron from Orlando. Aaron from Orlando. I repeat, Aaron from Orlando. Right? I'm actually getting the hang of this now. I don't have to do so much copy and paste. Now I can just pretty much eliminate what I saw before. All right, so we're up to 3. Let's go for number 4. Joe, Columbus, Indiana. Joe, Columbus, Indiana. Congratulations. All right, let's eliminate that one. Okay. We got 2 more of these guys. All right. Paste. All right. Pick one. Matthew from Norwell, Massachusetts. Congratulations. Again, Matthew from Norwell, Massachusetts. Congratulations. So that's good. And we're going to have to generate one more. I'll generate one more in a second. And one more. And Justin from Yonkers, New York. Justin from Yonkers, New York. Congratulations to you. So these are the first 5 of our bottom winners. I will reveal 5 more bottom winners later on during the broadcast here. For now, let's go ahead. Let's continue on, man. All right. So let's see what we got here. What other matches we got coming up? Where we left off? Looking at the card here. Oh, is it time? How delightful. We get to talk about that match next. Awesome. So, tag team match for the Raw tag team titles. We had that contested with Cesaro, Sheamus, Enzo Amore, Big Cass, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson. Supposed to be a fatal 3-way ladder match for the Raw tag titles. New Day, our hosts, coming out. By the way, I got a bone to pick with Michael Cole. You know, just kind of rewinding back a little bit. You know that spot with Rob Gronkowski? I really did not appreciate hearing Michael Cole say Rob Gronkowski has never I think he said something along the lines of Rob Gronkowski has like never performed in front of a massive audience quite like this before. And I'm just kind of going, well, Michael Cole, you really should rephrase that, because if you mean like, look, there's no helping Michael Cole. Michael Cole fucked that up. Seriously, he messed that up. I would have phrased that this way. I would have been like, I know Rob Gronkowski has probably played in front of millions for his New England Patriots, but that can't compare to what he's experiencing right now performing here in front of the fans at WrestleMania. That's got to be an entirely different experience. That's a different beast altogether, wouldn't you say, guys? And then you could have had the other guys chime in and say, yeah, you're absolutely right, Cole. So I was maybe expecting something like that to go down. There was another spot where Michael Cole just really came off very goofy when New Day first came out, and they're dressed up as the Final Fantasy characters. And you got Michael Cole naming the characters, Mogo, all that other silly crap. And he's like, yeah, I play my Final Fantasy. Come on. You know I do. Corey, you know I do. And Corey didn't say jack shit. Corey just was like, brother, you are on your own. And then when they actually went back to them at the announcers table, Michael Cole's still trying to push the Final Fantasy. Corey's just like holding back laughter. You can see he's just like, you're coming off real creepy, dude. Just go on with the segment already. That's exactly how Corey Graves was looking. That was a good spot. But no, we saw New Day. They came on out later during the night and they said, hey, we just got some breaking news. We just were informed, man, that this tag match that was a three-way, well, it's now going to be a four-way. But the question is, like, who is going to be the fourth team to enter? And they were kind of walking almost as though they were gonna get in that. And then the next thing you know, you hear the music. I never thought I'd hear the music, at least this soon, given everything that's going on right now. But we heard the music of the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, coming out. Great freaking reaction from the crowd. Great mark out moment. My whole freaking social media had blew up. I mean, I was getting private messages. Lee, it's the Hardys. Can you believe it? I'm like, not this soon. Yeah, I can't believe it. Like, I was already anticipating when they were going to be coming back, but I didn't think it was going to be like this short of a turnaround. See, usually when it comes to WrestleMania weekend, I usually dodge all the wrestling forums, headlines, and all that because I just legitimately want to be surprised. And for me, I was legitimately surprised. This was awesome. Seeing the whole freaking crowd in attendance say, delete, delete, delete. And just seeing Matt Hardy, the look that he had on his face. I mean, he looked as though he was in freaking cloud nine. Jeff looked as though he was really taking it in as well. But Matt seemed to be a bit more emotional. Now, for those of you that may be a little bit curious, they were introduced as the Hardy Boys. So before the whole broken thing. However, we need to make sure we stress this. I thought it was very interesting that when the Hardys were introduced, the commentators, they said, oh, time for the world to get broken. So I'm like, And then there were many times during this whole thing where you see Matt Hardy and he's doing the delete sign and the fans are doing it as well. So I have a feeling that we're going to get to see Matt Hardy do his broken gimmick. I'm happy. I am seriously happy. And I have a feeling that probably one of the reasons why we didn't see the Hardys just a little bit sooner is for a couple of reasons. I think ultimately the timing couldn't be more perfect than having them show up at WrestleMania. I think that was just perfect. You cannot write this better. So I honestly would not be surprised if Vince McMahon and crew, they were like, look, seeing what you guys are doing with this whole broken gimmick, you guys got that trademark? What's going on with that? And they probably were like, now that we think about it, nah, we don't quite have that trademark just yet. We meant to look into that. And I wouldn't be surprised if certain people in WWE were like, yeah, get on that like ASAP. We can do some like really awesome things with this. So I'm happy that WWE actually put the whole broken thing out there. And see, this creates some very, very interesting scenarios. It brings about a very interesting question with regards to like, okay, so what's going to happen during the next 24 hours? Now, I'll come back in just a second. Let's talk about this match. Hardys, man, looking like they found the fountain of youth. These guys going in there, they were holding it down. I mean, they were not going in here just trying to do little small spots. I mean, they went in here like the vintage Hardys, especially. How about that spot where Jeff Hardy gets that trademark long ladder, goes for a damn swanton bomb off the top, crashes into freaking Cesaro and Sheamus, basically has those ladders get bent and all that. I mean, that was a freaking sick spot. I loved it. I freaking loved it. I was on cloud nine. This was another great WrestleMania moment. I mean, this is the stuff that like dreams are made of. This is how you get people talking for years to come. I'm glad that this moment had happened. I'm glad that of all the scenarios to occur with the Hardys returning, that it was able to happen on the grandest stage of them all. That is WrestleMania. And look, all this crap that's going on with Anthem, Impact Wrestling, it just sucks that Anthem and all that, they're being bitter bitches. That's exactly what they're being right now. And I can understand where they're coming from to a certain degree, because it's like, oh shit, since these guys decided they're not going to re-sign, man, that means they're probably going to take this over to the WWE. And I get it. They're trying to do what they can to not only protect it, but they're also trying to get a little bit of money off of it as a result, because as far as they're concerned, hey, we provide you guys the platform. Hundred thousands of people were able to see this on television, so you like got us to thank for this newfound interest in you all's character. So to a degree, I can understand where they're coming from, but for all the time, all the all the times, all the selfish, no, not selfish, unselfish acts of kindness that came on the part of the Hardys and trying to do what they could because they believed in Impact Wrestling. Many times they're doing stuff out of their own pockets, right? Yeah, for Anthem to just operate the way that they operated, I just couldn't help but say, you don't deserve the Hardys. If you're going to treat these guys like this, then honestly, you don't deserve the Hardys. So we know they were tearing it up in Ring of Honor, and they pretty much had wrapped that up as they dropped the Ring of Honor tag titles recently to the Young Bucks. There is a couple of wrestling titles that they're still holding on to. I'm very curious to see how that's going to play about. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because your new Raw Tag Team Champions is none other than Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys. Like, if you would have told me in 2017 the Hardy Boys would be back and they would win tag titles, I would say, like, who's writing this? Because this is like freaking insane. I'm very curious what's going to happen in less than 24 hours, because I'm I'm really curious to hear the speech. That's what I want to hear, man. I want to hear the freaking speech of the Hardys. I want to hear what Matt has to say. I want to hear what Jeff says. I want to know just how broken are these guys going to get, or if they're really going to dumb it down. So I can't wait to see. Don't spoil it for me, please, because I know nowadays WWE does a lot of exclusive stuff on the website and on the network. And no, I don't want to see that. I'm more interested in just watching Raw and seeing what happens right before my very eyes when they're in that ring and it's live and anything can happen. I'm more interested in that route as opposed to something exclusive on the website. But that was a really great, awesome moment. And look, on a side note, how freaking refreshing is this for the Raw Tag Team division? Weren't we all just here over the past couple of weeks talking about how frustrated we were with the directions that the tag teams for both shows were going as far as the divisions? It was just kind of like, there ain't really nothing there. So now that we got the Hardys, they're doing their thing now on Raw. I mean, that's going to just help elevate the hell out of everybody else. So that's going to be awesome. SmackDown, hopefully, maybe the revival and or maybe DIY. I mean, who knows? But great. That was a great freaking moment that we had right there. Really happy that those guys are back. 7 years we last saw them in the WWE. Can you believe that? 7 years. It doesn't even feel like it's 7 years. It actually feels like it's been a lot longer. For me, it feels almost like it's been 12 years. That's just how it feels to me. But yeah, that was a really great spot, man. All right, so next up, shortest match of the night, John Cena, Nikki Bella taking on Miz and Maurice. I'm really not surprised with the finish to this match. I think all of us were pretty unanimous that despite how much of a great run Miz and Maurice have been having the past several weeks. I mean, especially the Miz. The past year, the Miz has just really been stepping it up. He's been stepping his game up, stepping it up on the promos. People have been talking, and I just think that it's so interesting because I remember I sent him a tweet. And look, I don't know if maybe he saw this tweet, but I thought the timing was so interesting because a week later, it all pretty much was on fire for the Miz going forward. But I remember I had sent him a tweet, and there was a picture I sent him of him on the front cover of PWI 500 magazine, and he was number one. You all probably remember the infamous cover if you're a PWI fan. And the tweet that I sent him had that picture, and I had asked him and the WWE, I said, is there any way we can somehow have this Miz return? Because I missed those days. Those days were really awesome. And I just thought it was so interesting that basically, like a week after that, all of a sudden, Miz started cutting like these awesome promos. He was getting people talking. And in the infamous segment that went down on Talking Smack with Daniel Bryan, that just really had everybody talking, and just this great buildup that he's been having these past several months. In my heart of hearts, I really wished that he would have been pulling out the victory for this tag team matchup. I really do. But, look, when it's all said and done, this was really all about Cena and Nikki Bella having their moment, and it was a really great moment. I am all fine for moments. It's WrestleMania. I'm all fine for good moments. And what they gave us was basically Macho Man, Miss Elizabeth. I loved it. I love the emotional story that John Cena had said to Nikki after their match was over. He was like, do you remember when you had broke your neck? Do you remember, what we had talked about? Do you remember how I asked you a question and, you said yes, and you remember? And she's like, yeah, but, tell the folks or whatever she was saying. But basically, he said to her right before she was getting ready to go to surgery, one day he's going to ask her to marry him. And he hopes that she would say yes. And as she was getting ready to go to surgery, apparently, I think there was a yes. However, it had went down. She asked him every week since then what happened. And Cena says now is the right time to tell you. So Cena says, hey, I just need you to say yes one more time. Drops to his knee, pulls out this big ass bling of a ring. I ain't never seen so much bling before in my life. And to think that thing was in his pocket the entire time he was wrestling. Marinate on that. That thing was in his pocket in the case the entire time he was wrestling. What the hell, man? But yeah, that was a nice spot. That was emotional. That was a nice spot. I was like, oh, I liked it. It was really, really nice. And kudos to the crowd, because this really could have been their moment to really shit on this, because they so wanted Miz to get this. They were so behind him. They were cheering him on and everything. This really should have been the Miz's moment, but given what we had saw afterwards, and look, I got to give it up to the crowd. They totally were respectful of this. You really did not hear any heckling and all that going on when this was coming about. But I tell you what, I know there are a bunch of young girls right now that's tearing their damn posters down because they know now John Cena's officially off the market. So, it's like so much for their dreams. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was a really great spot. See how many other matches we got here. We've got 1, 2, 3. We got 4 more matches to talk about. I'll tell you what, I will do one more match and then we'll go ahead and we'll reveal some more winners for our 2016 RCWR Show Awards. Pretty much ties into the WrestleMania weekend prize giveaway we're doing for you guys. All right, so next up we had Seth Rollins, Triple H, their non-sanctioned match. The entrance, I really gotta say, I really was not feeling the entrances. The whole Triple H thing, I wasn't feeling it. I saw the funniest gift that came to me from somebody. They were like, Lee, doesn't Triple H's entrance remind you of the scene from Pee Wee Herman when he was on a motorcycle? And I was like, damn. And they showed me the gif. I'm like, well, I don't know if I'd go to that extreme. I actually was thinking, did the Undertaker maybe loan Triple H one of his motorcycles, and maybe Chuck Palumbo had did some work on it for him? Because I'm thinking, wow, Triple H on a motorcycle, like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, man. It definitely seemed pretty out of place. Triple H though, looking freaking ripped, did he not? I mean, Triple H always looks good when it comes time for WrestleMania, but in particular this year, this has been like the best shape I have seen him in quite a long time. My man was on point physically. Seth Rollins, I really wasn't feeling his gear. I guess he was supposed to be, I don't know, maybe a phoenix or something, some type of bird was the vibe I was kind of getting with his attire, but I really wasn't feeling it. They had a pretty good match, though. I must say, I love of all the matches that we had got for WrestleMania. This one had some of the best in-ring psychology. I loved it, and only Triple H knows how to do that. Only Triple H knows how to do it and do it well. And I love the story that was being told. I mean, for a non-sanctioned match, pretty much anything goes. The name of the game for Triple H was do whatever he needed to do by any means necessary to have Seth Rollins be on one bad leg or no legs at all. I mean, he really was just going to town on the legs pretty early on in the match, really going for the one that had recently had reconstructed surgery. Then he was going for the leg that recently kind of put him out for a couple of weeks. I mean, he was showing no mercy, man. Any opportunity that he had got, he was going for it. So I love that psychology. I mean, it is just nowadays a true lost art form when it's all said and done. And there is just something in the way that when you watch Triple H in the ring with whoever and the story that he is able to tell, you're into it. You're watching. And look, I know what Bret Hart had said some months back or a couple of years back about Triple H, but look, is Triple H Bret Hart? Hell no. Is Triple H Kurt Angle? Hell no. But when have you ever seen Triple H deliver a two-star match? I mean, out of 5 stars, Triple H has typically given you, I would say, three, 3.5, and depending on the right opponent, sometimes you would get like a 4, once in a while a 4.5, but you're either getting anywhere from 3 to 4 star matches from Triple H usually. So, for me, I think he really has always been the type of cat. It just depends on who his dance partner is. And I thought with the story that they were telling for this matchup that he had a pretty good dance partner in Seth Rollins, to the point there was one particular spot that I had enjoyed that made me say, Seth Rollins is for sure going to be all right for the years to come. I know he went through some serious heckling when he did that turnbuckle power bomb to Sting, and that's it for Sting now. And there's been a couple of other guys he's injured, but I really had appreciated the spot where he does the turnbuckle power bomb move to Triple H. Triple H takes it. I put the tweet out as soon as I saw it. I said kudos to Triple H for taking that spot, because that really signifies to me that he trusts Seth Rollins. And you know what? I just was like, okay, all right, if Hunter is cool with this kid doing this move to him, hey, then it really should just like let so many people let it rest already. Because you still have people to this very day that stay. Oh, Seth Rollins, you can't trust him. He's gonna end your career. And the fact that Triple H took that move, it was like, okay, all right, he trusts him. All right, let's do it. So it's actually a really good matchup, man. Let's pick it up towards the end of this matchup. Let you know how that had pretty much played out. So we saw Triple H and Seth Rollins. They were going back and forth. We had saw Rollins. He did a nice kick to Triple H's jaw. That sent Triple H bouncing off of the ropes. Triple H used that momentum, pretty much hit him with a big clothesline. Stephanie, she's there. She's cheering them on as they're both down. I mean, she is just rooting the hell out of Triple H, telling him, "Hey, you got to come to your feet. Come on, man. Get it in. Get it in. Come on. Come on. Help. Come on, Hunter. Come on." And Triple H, he then decides he wants to try to twist the hell out of Seth Rollins' knee. You got the fans, they're eating this up. They're really trying to root Seth Rollins on. Triple H, he grabs the trademark sledgehammer. Rollins, he jumps up from out of nowhere, nails a kick to the head. That sent Triple H and the sledgehammer to the mat. Rollins grabs the sledgehammer now. Rollins waits for him to get up. We see Stephanie McMahon. She decides, that ain't happening. She grabs the sledgehammer right out from Seth Rollins' hands. And as he's distracted, Triple H takes advantage of this, nails him with a pedigree. That was only a 2 count, though. I thought for sure it was going to be over at that point, but it wasn't. Rollins would then soon grab Triple H and is kind of slow in picking him up. Rollins tries to go for a pedigree. Triple H counters that with a kick. Rollins was able to block another pedigree as Triple H was trying to look for it. Rollins then goes for a pedigree of his own. Triple H then backdrops him. So he didn't get it that time, as Triple H did what I just said, and that had Rollins land on his bad leg. We then saw Triple H. He tried to go for another pedigree, of which Rollins countered. Rollins goes for a pedigree again, but Triple H takes out the knee. So, I mean, just that great back and forth ring psychology that we had going on right there all throughout the match, but especially during the series sequences of the counters of, okay, who's going to get the pedigree first? Because you're really kind of like, okay, so really whoever gets this pedigree, that like is probably going to be it, because yeah, you might have been able to escape out of one pedigree for a 2 count, but can you get out of a second one? And then if you're in the case of Triple H, you're definitely going, I'm not losing to my own damn move, son. It ain't happening, right? So, final moments of the matchup, we see Stephanie. She gets on the apron. Triple H almost runs into her. Rollins comes back with a super kick that has sent Triple H into Stephanie. Stephanie falls off of the apron through the table, crashing through that. Fans were laughing their asses off at that spot. They loved it, eating that up. Triple H, real pissed off, turns around, gets a kick to the gut. Wham. Pedigree, 1, 2, 3. Your match is over. That was it. Great ring psychology, man. I mean, honestly, when I look back on this matchup, it wasn't anything that was like spectacular. As far as scale of 1 to 5, 1 the lowest, 5 the highest, I would have to give it a kind of came off like a 3-star match. I would honestly have to say. See, just kind of follows up on what I was saying earlier, man. Really kind of depends on who the opponent is. From there, we had got our halftime performance. I actually went to go use the bathroom because I really didn't care less about this performance. Pitbull, Flow Rider, Stephen Marley, Lunch Money Lewis. I just didn't care. Don't get it twisted. I love rap, love it, love hip hop, love my R&B, but I just didn't particularly care for this segment. All right, so let's take a pause right there. We've got now what, 2 more matches to talk about? I'm looking at the card here. Yeah, we talked about that. We got 1, 2. No, we got 3 more matches to talk about. 3 more matches to talk about. We got Randy Orton taking on Bray Wyatt. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead. Let's talk about the Bray Wyatt Randy Orton match, and then we'll go into the last 2 matches. And I definitely want to get to what you guys are saying in the chat with regards to what you thought about WrestleMania. If there's a question you want for me to tackle, do me a favor. When you're putting in the question, make sure you put in parentheses a capital LS. That way, when I get ready to come to you guys, I can instantly find what you all want me to read live on the air here. Same thing for you guys that's checking this out on Spreaker as well. And if you're appreciating the stream, please do me a huge, huge, huge favor. We really mean a lot. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure you share this all throughout social media. All right. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's do this. Oh, yeah. And by the way, if you love what I do, hit the subscribe button, man. You can always catch me every Tuesday night live, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. After WWE SmackDown goes off the air, we talk a little bit about all things wrestling and beyond. Hey, got you talking. We're going to be talking about it here on the RCWR Show. Let's go ahead and let's continue on. So, Randy Orton taking on Bray Wyatt for the WWE Championship. I really do not need to go into this match with regards to like the finish, because I am more interested in talking about my discuss. Please allow me to go in detail. So let me see if I understand this. Bray Wyatt becomes the WWE Universal Champion. What a great, like, wow, finally, Bray Wyatt. Hey, this is awesome. All right, Bray. Good job, Bray. And you feel good as a Bray Wyatt fan because you're like, all right, so the company, they're like finally getting behind my favorite guy. That's probably how many of you have felt, right? They're finally getting behind my guy. They're finally getting behind Bray Wyatt. They tell this great, riveting story involving Randy Orton. You're like, this is great. Now, some people felt as though it was a bit forced. Did I feel it was a bit forced early on? To a certain degree, but I love the fact that this was something fresh and it would add a new layer to the Randy Orton character. So I wanted to see where this was going to go. So I love the story that was told leading up to where we're at now. Okay, I get it. Randy Orton, you can't beat him, join him. Really trying to align himself with Bray Wyatt, get Bray to lower that guard down where he trusts him so much. He shares his most intimate secrets and all that. Okay, great. But then Randy Orton would turn around and he basically would vandalize the resting grounds of one Sister Abigail. So now you got Bray Wyatt pissed. You see that emotional Bray Wyatt, and like just in that instance, you're lost in translation because you're going, well, wait a minute now. I know that Bray Wyatt is the bad guy and all that, but damn, what Randy Orton did, that was like some cold, jacked up. Man, that was almost as bad as the bear raping Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie, supposedly. Like, damn, dude, like that's not cool. So now you're kind of like, well, wait a minute here. Who's the heel and who's the face? I'm a little bit confused now who I'm supposed to be rooting for. So that's what we got pretty much going into this match. And for me personally, I'm going, well, damn, Randy Orton do all that crap that he did to Bray Wyatt. Shit, well, yeah, I would think Bray Wyatt is going to do this, right? And I got to tell you, I love the ring psychology that was used for this matchup. I love what they did with showing the mat, the overhead shots of the mat, and you got the maggots, worms, and all that showed up a couple of times, letting you know Bray Wyatt was playing the mind games with Randy Orton, really trying to mess up his psyche. I love that. That was a really awesome spot, or two. Actually, they did it about, what, 3 times? Maybe 4 times they did that. I love that. Loved all that was going on. But to see Randy Orton come out of this as your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, I just was not really feeling that. Closing moments to this matchup. Let's get you guys caught up to speed, and I'll go a little bit more into this. So at one point, Randy Orton, he managed to block the Sister Abigail, rolled up Wyatt for a 2 count. Wyatt would come back with a clothesline, Orton goes to the floor, tries to regroup. JBL, now he shot himself in the foot on this one. But there were several points during this matchup where the crowd was dead silent. And I put the tweet out there. I said two things. I said either the crowd is starting to get a little tired because, I mean, at this point, by the time we got this matchup, looking at the rest of the card that we got right now, by the time this matchup had came about, I think it was like already a little bit past the 10 o'clock hour. So, these guys, they've been there for a good minute now. A lot of these guys, their day probably started just to get to the damn arena. It probably started for them at about maybe 2, maybe close to 3. So, it's been a good minute for these guys, man. So, yeah, they probably are a little bit tired. They're probably ready to go back to their hotel room, maybe get some real food or whatever. Who knows, right? So, keep all that in mind. And JBL says, oh, these guys are quiet because they haven't quite seen something like this before. The games, the psychological games that Bray Wyatt is playing on Randy Orton. I'm going, nah, man, they're either getting really tired or honestly, you've got some spots in this matchup that the fans, they aren't really feeling. I think, honestly, my 2 cents from a distance, I think the fans were just kind of getting a little bit tired. But I tell you this, going into the final moments of this matchup, we saw Wyatt drop Orton face first into the barrier with his sister Abigail. Referee counts. Wyatt manages to break it at 8. Orton rolls right back out to the floor again. Wyatt runs around the ring. Orton ducks a clothesline attempt by Wyatt. Orton drops Wyatt on the floor with an RKO out of nowhere. Referee counts again. This go round, Orton manages to get Wyatt back into the ring at the 7 count. Orton covers for a 2 count. Orton misses a punt kick. Wyatt kisses the head of Randy Orton as he's trying to look for Sister Abigail once again. But that was blocked as Randy countered it with a backbreaker. Orton then goes and drops Wyatt with a DDT. Orton hits the mat, readies for an RKO. Wyatt manages to jump up, nail his sister Abigail for a close 2 count. We would then see Wyatt turn upside down, do that spider walk, and the ring turns into maggots and all that crap once again. Wyatt stands tall, but wham, out of nowhere, Randy Orton with the fuck you out of nowhere RKO for the win. And Randy Orton is your new WWE champion. So let me see if I got this straight. Randy Orton, all due respect to Randy Orton, have a drink. That kind of plays back on something I had talked about less than 24 hours ago. So Randy Orton, he has been involved now with the WWE, God, as long as John Cena has been, right? Because they both came up through OVW, same class and everything. They both came up through the WWE at about the same time. So pretty much like what, 2001, maybe 2002. And you pretty much fast forward like all the way to now. So that's about what, almost 13, 14 years, right? How many championship belts Randy Orton has held? There's a point I'm going with this, but for you guys that maybe need a little bit of a refresher, just in WWE alone, 4-time World Heavyweight Champion. Before this title win, he was a 8-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So he's held the belt numerous times. That's all I'm saying. Meanwhile, you have a young guy like Bray Wyatt. This is his first run as a champion. And if there was ever okay, please, let's not have this guy be a one-hit wonder. Yeah, let's have him walk out at WrestleMania. Yeah. We got to make sure we have him walk out at WrestleMania. And you don't do that. I have been telling people for the longest time, and I love me some Randy Orton, but feel me on this. I got to keep it real. Let's keep it 100. As long as I have been watching the career of Randy Orton in the WWE, this is the MO. Randy Orton will get into this right position storyline wise that, credit to the writers, they do a really good job with. And it typically sees a scenario where Randy Orton is chasing after whoever is holding on to the title. And Randy, for the longest time, again, this is the MO, he does a phenomenal job chasing after whoever is the champion. I have said this off and on for many years. The chase is better than the catch. And when it comes to Randy Orton, that could not be any more true. Because once Randy Orton gets to the damn title, then it's like, okay, all right, he's champion. So now what? And Randy's MO, he gets stale really, really quick. That's the MO. So keeping all that in mind, keeping everything that I just said, the long track record of how many times this guy has won titles in the WWE, if there was ever more a reason to say, okay, you know what? Bray's doing really good, man. We gotta keep it on Bray. We don't need to have him come off as a transitional champion. Not to mention, very interesting statistic I want to share with you guys. Do you all realize that now with this WrestleMania, do you all realize that Bray Wyatt, since he's come up the main roster as this Bray Wyatt character and all that, just period, his career so far, do you all realize he is 0-3 at WrestleMania? 0-3 at WrestleMania. Just marinate on that for a few ticks. So, I mean, for me, I'm just kind of going, wow. What more does this guy have to do? I keep hearing all this damn talk about reach for the brass ring. It's there. You can take it. You can taste it. You can smell it. Yeah. Get that brass ring. And you've got these people that are trying to do, like Kurt Angle said less than 48 hours ago, which is create characters, do things, say things that is going to make you very memorable. It's not so much the matches that the fans are going to remember, although that's good, but it's the memories that you give them with your personality, trying to be yourself, taking a chance. So here we have Bray Wyatt, who's doing this crazy obnoxious shit. And you're going, wow, this guy's got something going on, man. This guy's got something going on, man. And this is how you reward him. Way to reach for the brass ring. That's all I got to say. Way to reach for the brass ring. I see what Freddie's saying. Don't remind me about Bray's record, Lee, please. Yeah. I just, yes, Torn. 0-3. Can you believe that? 0-3 at WrestleMania. Makes no sense to me. 0-3. So rewind it a little bit. For those of you that's like, who all has he lost to so far? So you know about the loss that he did with what went down tonight with Randy Orton. The other people that he lost to, back it up last year, he lost to The Rock. And then before that, there was the feud with Cena, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, it was the feud with Cena, because remember, everybody was like, is Cena going to give into the dark side? And Cena didn't. So, yeah, 0-3 right now. That's all I got to say. 0-3. I would like to think that maybe next year, Bray Wyatt finally has his freaking WrestleMania moment. I don't want for Bray Wyatt to just finally get a WrestleMania win. No, if I can have it my way, I honestly would like for Bray Wyatt to walk into WrestleMania next year as champion and leave out as champion. If he can't go into it as a champion, I damn sure want him leaving next year's WrestleMania as a champion. That's honestly what I would love. Exactly. Yeah, Freddie. He lost to Cena and he lost to Taker. That's correct. So just silly. Anyway, let's get to some more winners, shall we? We got to reveal 5 more winners. Again, these are our bottom winners for the bottom prizes that we have up for grabs. The grand prize winners, those are pretty much going to be revealed on Tuesday's RCWR show. A lot of cool prizes because the ultimate prize, it's the 5 wrestling DVDs, man. That's what's going to be really awesome. The 5 wrestling DVDs. How badass is that? You get brand new wrestling DVDs. All you got to do is just be like, "Hey Lee, there was a wrestling DVD that came out like 4 months ago. Could you get that for me on Blu-ray?" "Yeah, sure." "Hey Lee, this thing is out right now. Can you yeah, sure." "Hey Lee, like in 4 months this is gonna come out. Can you?" How cool is that? 5 wrestling DVDs. It doesn't get any better. Do we hook you guys up or do we hook you guys up? Also, I gotta take this time out to thank the many sponsors that honestly helped me make a lot of these cool items be available for you all. Because honestly, without them working with me, working with the show, making this happen, it just wouldn't be possible without them. So let's go ahead, let's reveal some more winners. I'll talk about these last few matches that we got coming up. All right, so let's see. Again, we're going to do 5 more. Charles in College Park, congratulations to you, Charles in College Park. Charles in charge of my life. Don't pay me no mind, guys. All right, so we got Charles. All right, so we got Charles, and let's go with another one. We did this one, didn't we? I'm pretty sure we did that one. Yeah, some of you guys had entered twice. I noticed that, by the way. Some of you guys had entered twice. I'm not sure why you all had did that. Only once, because I can see your IP address, your email address, and all that. So, yeah, I can only take one entry. So let's try that again. Kelton in Florida. Kelton in Florida. Congratulations to you. All right, post that and paste. All right, let's get, what was that, guys? Number 2? I think we're on number 3 now. Oh, this is going to be a tongue twister to pronounce. Let's try it. Dara. I believe I said it right because you even did the parentheses for me. Dara in Dublin, Ireland. Shout out to you, my friend. You get the hookup. I got you. Congratulations. All right. And what's that? That should be 2 more, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. No, we actually got 1 more. So let me go with 1 more. Hey, Melanie in France. Congratulations to you. Melanie in France. Congratulations to you. And that is our top 10 bottom winners. So your next opportunity, it could be this Tuesday night on the RCWR show. So make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be 10 p.m. Eastern live on Spreaker.com soon as SmackDown wraps up. So that should be pretty awesome. But congratulations to all of our bottom winners. I will be contacting you all within the next 24 to 36 hours. Let you all know that you won. Let you know what prizes that we have up for grabs. And I know some of you guys are like, well, I already know what I want. Well, hey, look, if you already know what you want, you do get first dibs. You just got to let me know ASAP. And I will do my best to hook you up. Give me a second here, guys. I'm just trying to paste the remaining names. And I'm trying to make sure I make a note of bottom winners. Bottom winners. Next time we gotta, maybe I can get my girl to help me out with this. That way I can keep the show rolling, but it's all good, man. I don't mind doing this. All right, so let's continue on. All right, we got what? 2 more matches left. Let's see here. Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, singles match, WWE Championship, the Universal title on the line. So, for those of you wondering if this was going to be maybe like a 10-minute match, nah. It was 4 minutes, 45 seconds exactly. And honestly, the way that we can pretty much sum up this match, I actually put out the tweet. I really do not need to go into this match in great detail. This is the match in a nutshell. Bear with me here, guys. Let me pull up the notes here. I could not believe the match was as follows. All right. So the match is as follows. Brock Lesnar, German suplex. Goldberg automatically hits with a spear. Goldberg waits a few seconds, hits with a spear. Goes for the cover, only a 2 count. Then he goes for the jackhammer, goes for the cover, only a 2 count. Tried to go for another spear, but Brock Lesnar was able to do a leapfrog. It was a pretty damn good leapfrog, too. I didn't think Brock Lesnar was capable of jumping that damn high. So Brock Lesnar would do that. Oh, back up. There was a spear that had came about outside of the ring because the action did go out there. Goldberg did do a spear to Goldberg through the wall barrier, and then somehow the action had got back in the ring. But then after that, everything else I mentioned is still on point. Just throw that other spot in there. But basically, Goldberg was looking for another spear. Brock Lesnar did the leapfrog, and then that was followed up by 10 German suplexes, followed up with an F5, and you have a new WWE Universal Champion in Brock Lesnar. So, how am I supposed to feel? I'll tell you how I'm supposed to feel. One, I'm glad that the title is now off of Goldberg because, as he said in a recent interview with Edge and Christian, honestly, he's been physically, I'm making sure I don't put words in his mouth because I understand what he was trying to say, even though a lot of people misinterpreted it. That's why I didn't report it because I know a lot of you guys were like, Lee, did you hear about Goldberg? And I'm just quietly, and I'm like waiting for more clarity, and I hear exactly what he meant to say. But I'm happy that the title is no longer on Goldberg because I'm going, okay, dude, if you feel like shit because now at the age that you are, you're finding that you have to work 2 times hard and all this other jazz, but you're loving it because you're creating great memories for your kid, for your wife and all that, and you're pretty much like, it's worth it. Hey, you know what? More power to you and everything. But at the same time, honestly, I just, let me be blunt. I wish that this would have been a scenario not so predictable. I really was hoping that Goldberg would just get a sweep. Just get a sweep. Because it's something that like we have not seen in the WWE in a good minute. You go over to NXT, there's been instances, it's not spammed enough. That's the beautiful part. But there's been instances where you see some type of a tournament or whatever, or best of, and somebody will get sweeped. And you're like, damn, I didn't think that was even possible. But somebody will get sweeped. So I'm thinking, well, hey, main roster, like everybody knows this guy's going to get the win. So why not just do the opposite? Why not just let Goldberg sweep and then, have him drop the title on Monday Night Raw? You could either have him drop it to Kevin Owens, or maybe you can honestly really make it be paid forward and maybe have Finn Balor. Finn Balor, he never did properly lose the title. He just had to relinquish it. So maybe you can kind of go in that route. There's so many different options that you really could have done, But at the end of the day, I definitely am for trying to pay it forward, trying to help enhance the cachet of the younger talent that's on the roster. So to not see it play out the way I had hoped, I gotta tell you, how am I supposed to feel about Brock Lesnar as the Universal Champion? The only good thing I can say about all this is that, well, you know what? At least we know for certain we have Brock Lesnar for another year. His contract has been worked out in a way where he's doing more dates. Yeah, he's getting his rest where he is able to get it. But you know what? At least we can kind of kick back and have somewhat of a smile on our face saying, well, look, Goldberg's been doing less, way less compared to his run in WCW, way less compared to his run in WWE, the first rodeo round. Honestly, you would have felt maybe a little bit different if it was a situation where Goldberg was doing pre-taped little interview segments, like back in the old territory days, as I've been saying off and on these past couple of weeks. Or maybe he was involved in a couple of tag matches where, he's enhancing the younger talent. Oh, hey, look who Goldberg has aligned himself with, or some jazz like that. I mean, how nice of a rub off would that have been to maybe see for one night only Goldberg team up with Enzo and Kaz or some shit like that. I mean, just saying. Or Goldberg with Cesaro and Sheamus. Or, I mean, my God, you could have done so many cool things with Goldberg, but all in the name of trying to pay it forward and try to help elevate the other guys that's pretty much going to be there all year round. And we didn't see any of that. At least with Brock Lesnar, at least he's going to come in, and if you need him to do something as soon as Raw goes off the air, it's silly, but he's there. He's going to do it. Want to pre-tape something? Show it next week or over the course of a couple of weeks? Okay, well, you got Brock for that. Yeah, he can do that. You want to fly Brock in because you got this thing that's going down? Yeah, Brock, he's down for that. Brock just comes off more negotiable than Bill Goldberg. I mean, we really won't know until Goldberg does an interview with a podcast or a radio show host where they're honestly really candid and they ask him the questions that we want to know. And probably one of the questions that's really on my mind right now is, okay, like so many fans, I'm sure you understand, were a little bit disgruntled by your last run in the WWE this go round. In particular, they didn't like the fact that you weren't involved in matches, mainly like kind of helping out the other talent. Did you have some type of a clause in your contract that you can reveal that wouldn't allow you to be in that position? Or did WWE just basically say, this is what we're willing to do, this is what we're not willing to do? Like, can you shed any light? Unless somebody really asks those type of hard-hitting questions and not get some half-ass answer, really go in and make sure that that question is being asked or addressed rather. I think that's the only way we're really going to truly understand what the hell was going on with this run. But at least we got Brock. Now you just think about what could possibly happen with Brock Lesnar as the Universal Champion. Once again, I'm all for paying it forward. The potential matchup that you could have between he and Kevin Owens, or maybe you could slide Finn Balor in there. It's going to be a very interesting Raw. Or go a step further. I'm reaching here, but just feel me for a second. I'm reaching here. But in less than 24 hours, how badass would that be to see Brock Lesnar in the middle of the ring celebrating his victory? Now he's the king of the world again and everything. And my man fucking Kurt Angle gets in Brock Lesnar's face. Now you want to talk about holy, that would be one hell of a moment. Now I'm not saying they're going to do something for the title. I'm just saying that would be a nice moment For me personally, if Kurt is physically healthy, I so would book that. I'd book it in a heartbeat. Now I don't know if I would book it as soon as WWE Raw's next pay-per-view, but I am going to be thinking about SummerSlam. But I don't know if maybe I would tease something like that. Angle, Lesnar, Raw. Man, that would be something. Let me tell you. Because think about it for a second. With Kurt Angle kind of like on the horizon, you can always have, if you do it right on the Raw side, you can always have for there to be some type of a main attraction slash somebody that can work with the talent that's there all year round and pretty much help enhance their portfolios and help enhance their cachet. So just imagine for those times that you don't have Brock Lesnar, you can easily just kind of go back to Kurt Angle and just kind of play off of that. I think I might be on to something, man, but that would be really freaking awesome. We'll see. We'll see, man. But for now, I'm all about, okay, Lesnar is the champion, great, but pay it forward. That's what you got to do. You got to pay it forward. So we got that. Let's see, what's our next matchup here? We only got one more match to talk about because I talked at the very beginning about the Roman Reigns Undertaker match. Naomi, she became your new SmackDown Women's Champion. I really was looking forward to this matchup, but you know what just really took the air out of it for me? The fact that it just felt like a big old spot fest. And go figure, because the match was only like 5 minutes and some change. And it just really felt like, okay, do your spot, and then I'm going to do this, and then I get eliminated. I mean, that basically was it in a nutshell. All the girls were getting in their little trademark signature or whatever. They're getting in their little spot, and then somehow they get eliminated. I'm happy for Naomi, though. I'm happy for the fact that she was able to not only come back, win the SmackDown Women's title, a title that she honestly should have been having going into Mania and probably coming out still as champion. But not only am I happy that she won the title, but I'm also happy that she won it in front of her hometown. So I've always been a big supporter of Naomi, but man, I wish the girls would have got a little bit more time to really go into this. I really was hoping for a much longer matchup. I mean, all these women that are in here, they can fucking go with the exception of one. You try to figure that out. Once again, it was Naomi, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Mickie James, Natalya. I really did not care anything about the James Ellsworth spot. James Ellsworth has not gotten to the point for me as a wrestling fan where I want to see somebody kick his teeth down his throat. He just hasn't gotten to that point for me. I just am like, okay, why is he on my TV? What are they doing with him now? I would not be surprised if when spring cleaning comes, you know what I mean by spring cleaning. I honestly would not be surprised if maybe they decided, you know what, it was fun while it lasted, but now we're kind of a little bit at a stalemate with you. Don't call us, we'll call you. I wouldn't be too surprised of that. But I was really disappointed with this matchup because I got to tell you, I watch SmackDown every single week, and the girls on that roster, they are always putting in a pretty solid matchup. Always. I'm always entertained. So to just go into this one and it was like, whatever. So, but you know what? They had some really good moments here with tonight's WrestleMania. I got to tell you, they created some really awesome moments that's going to have you talking for years to come. I mean, to see AJ Styles perform on such a big grand stage, great matchup against Shane O'Mac. Shane O'Mac now, since he's been back, we're talking about statistics. I told you about Bray Wyatt. Well, if you're keeping track, Shane is now 0-2 at WrestleMania since he's returned. But AJ Styles, that was a really nice little spot for him. KO Mania 2's running wild now. He's now your new United States champion. Bayley proves she's not a one-hit wonder, at least for now. Hardy Boys returning. John Cena proposing to Nikki Bella. Seth frickin' Rollins getting retribution. What's next for Seth? Is maybe Seth going to try to chase after the Universal Champion now? Most importantly, how is that whole direction going to be playing as far as him moving on and his relationship with the Authority? Is Stephanie McMahon going to try to stick it to him? Randy Orton is your new WWE champion. Roman Reigns basically retiring The Undertaker in less than 24 hours. That should be a very interesting crowd. By the way, I really didn't highlight it at the top, but I thought that was a really nice emotional spot where we had saw The Undertaker kiss his wife briefly, Michelle McCool, as he made his way to the ramp. And I tell you, man, to see him pretty much throw his fists up as he's like in the middle of the ramp there, making his way back to the back. And remember, when we first saw him come out, he came from below. So to see him go down and he had his fists up, I was automatically thinking about Terminator 2. And remember how the Terminator was like, there's one more chip or some shit like that. And he goes into that big ass hot melting pot of lava, and as he's going down, the fist is everything's just melting, and he's going in the lava, and the last thing you see is his hand, and it turns into a damn thumbs up, and it just melts away. That's honestly when I saw that with the Undertaker, I was like, oh man, Terminator 2, like, no, don't go, stay, please. That's literally how I felt when I saw Undertaker doing that. I felt like the little kid in Terminator 2. Don't go, please stay, but let's see what you guys are saying in the chat here, man. This is actually my favorite part of the damn show. Let's see what we got here. Let me know what you thought about WrestleMania. See, put something in parentheses too, please, if you want me to read something on air. Put in parentheses a capital LS. That way I know I need to jump to it. A lot of you are really shocked, though. I see Be Nice is saying very sad ending. Orby is saying why. Risk Kiss 13 is saying right. I was just saying I feel somber after that ending. Freddie enjoyed WrestleMania. Freddie thought it was a really great WrestleMania. Orby, I don't know about the Hardys, man. I kind of got a little bit of a hint that maybe they're broken, but we'll know in a little bit, man. Some of you guys are liking that Taker had passed the torch. I'm with Torn. Torn says the way that they have treated Bray is crazy. Let's see. Freddie Lee, this card was very disappointing overall. The best moments was Hardy's return. None of the matches had a real WrestleMania moment unless you want to count the proposal. Well, if we're going to break it down like that, let's break it down. Honestly, following up on what you just said, dude, I actually agree. I actually agree with you. Other than the Hardys returning, the twist that they did with the Andre the Giant Memorial Trophy, I would have to say personally. Cena, Nikki Bella, the proposal. Reigns, Taker. Yeah, I see exactly where you're coming from. I honestly would have to agree with you. I'm not going to say that this is the best WrestleMania of all time. And I want to reiterate, we'll be talking about this WrestleMania for years to come because of key moments, as what I highlighted a few minutes ago. That's what we're going to be talking about. But like as far as the rest of the card, no, we're really not gonna. No, we're really not going to be looking back on the card and trying to single out a particular match. We really aren't. And that's kind of sad because when you look at Neville Aries, they had a good matchup. AJ Styles, Shane McMahon, they had somewhat of an average match. Jericho Owens, lived up to how I pictured it, but I was expecting a little bit more. I would have to say that was an average match as well. The Fatal 4-Way match for the World Women's title, that was an average match. Cena, Nikki Bella, Miz, Maurice, average. Triple H, Seth Rollins, didn't I say that was a 3-star match? So that was about average. Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, that match was average. Probably would have increased a little more if Bray retained. Lesnar, Goldberg, very predictable. I do I have to even rate that? 2 stars. Naomi, yeah, I would give that one 3 stars. Roman, Undertaker, they had some botches in there. I can't ignore that. They had some botches. Taker, the way he was acting physically in there at many points, I can't forget that. Sadly, I gotta rate. I gotta rate 2.5 out of 5 for that match. But the moment of Undertaker, retiring and all that, that kind of boosts it up a little bit to a 3. But minus that, it's like a 2.5. So if you ask me straight up how I would rate WrestleMania overall, it barely gets a pass. I mean, let's crank up the scale a little bit. Scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the crappiest, 10 being the awesome sauce. I'd have to give it a 5.5. 5.5 out of 10. I really want to give it a 5. You know what? I don't think I've ever done this before for a WWE pay-per-view, but I'm going to do it. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It is right down the middle, just average. I think what the men and women had did with NXT TakeOver less than 24 hours before Mania, I thought what they did was better. As always, those takeover events, I keep telling you guys, because there's so many of you guys that don't check out NXT TakeOver specials or watch NXT weekly, or at least check it out every couple of weeks. Y'all missing out, especially when they get ready to do these takeovers. It's always a home run. I've yet to come across a takeover event that I didn't like, man. Check out some more comments that you guys have here. And as I'm going through the comments, make sure you give me a thumbs up if you haven't done so already, and hit that subscribe button. Freddie, I agree with the Bray comment. You don't attempt what they did with the Bray in that match, and he ends up losing with no real story being told. Be Nice felt it was a good overall pay-per-view. Let's see what else we got here. Damn, there's a lot of comments in here. Let's see. This crowd isn't messing with Roman Lee, no matter how hard WWE tried. So they're going to have to find a legit top babyface that the crowd is at least going to give a chance to breathe. The guy's making money. I know he's getting the reactions that he's getting, but he's a merchandise top seller. He's granting a lot of wishes for sick kids. He's doing it, man. Any reaction is better than no reaction. And I like how my man JBL has said that recently on an episode of Bring It to the Table. Let's see what else we got here. How do I feel about Baylor and Samoa Joe having an appearance? Also, why put the effort and creativity behind Wyatt just to tease his loyal fan base? I think I answered that question. Yeah. And let me know if I didn't, because basically I talked about what you could do with Baylor next in about less than 24 hours. I also talked about what you could possibly do with Samoa Joe next. See what else we got. Do I think WWE will mess up the broken Matt Hardy gimmick? No, I do not. I do not think they'll mess that up. They would have to be just freaking silly to mess that up. I don't think they're going to mess that up. I actually trust them. See what else we got here. Really? That's how long it went? I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce your name here. I'll just say Cheyenne. That was 7 hours? My God, what it started at 5, right? So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, man, I got it going 8 hours. Well, if you dodge the pre-show, then yeah, maybe for you it'd be 7 hours, but for a lot of us, it was like 8+ hours. That was just way too fucking long. I don't already had kids. They don't went to high school and graduated. They got married. I'm a grandpa now. So yeah, it was that long. Well, what else we got here? Let's see. Read that. For my thoughts on Taker's ending, just rewind it back, and I will talk a little bit more candid about it on this Tuesday's RCWR show. See what else we got. Going through some more of these. Are we getting to the place of asking the question, does Vince WWE even give a damn about what the WWE universe wants anymore? Yeah. You want the short answer? Yes. I can elaborate more Tuesday night, but the short answer for now, are we getting to that point where they don't give a damn? They've been not giving a damn, quite honestly. Let me highlight that one. I'll forward that one to Tuesday night. I can just feel the hate right now for Roman Reigns, especially like after what went down tonight. I can just feel it, man. Let's see what else we got. Reza, what percentage of viewers do you believe cared for the halftime show? Is that a trick question, dude? Is that a trick question, man? Uh, I'm just picturing. Let me put it to you this way: how that song go? Give me the green light, cause I'm ready to go. Well, my joint was give me the green light, cause I'm ready to poop. I mean, seriously. I apologize, ladies, but I use that as a much needed break. I timed it perfectly. I saved it just so I could not watch that performance. So I'm sure there's probably a lot of other people that felt the exact same way. Let's see what we got here. I'm still going through you all's questions here. Yeah, it was about 3 to 5 minutes tops. Yep, 10 suplexes Brock Lesnar did because they wanted to do the 10 from Ty Dillinger. All right, what else we got here? A little bit of a preview for you guys. Hate to burst the bubble a little bit, but there is a new WWE interview. It's actually on the YouTube channel where apparently WWE caught up to the Hardys, and apparently, according to Native Star, they ain't broken. The only thing you can say with that is, well, maybe they were just trying to be candid for that moment, and maybe it's going to be a different story less than 24 hours. We'll wait and see. Torrin felt that there wasn't a lot of storytelling in the matches. Looking at the card again, I would say, Neville Austin had story. AJ Shane had story. To an extent, the Fatal 4-Way for the Raw Women's title, that had story. Fatal 4-Way for the Raw Tag titles, that had story. Seth, Triple H, that definitely had story. Even the Bray versus Orton, that had story. Roman, Taker, that definitely had story. I just told you guys that it was like almost Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair retirement match. It was almost kind of like that. So that had story. Others, it was just kind of like, so I guess you could honestly say half the card for Mania had story, had like substance. And then it was just, all right, just get out there, have some fun. So I'm agreeing with you to an extent. I'm seeing you halfway. Let's see what else we got. And yes, I do read the comments, and you, my friend, are deleted, deleted, delete, delete, delete. I love that. If you're gonna be an asshole, you can definitely go do that somewhere else. I love that. It's nice being a moderator in here, man, because it's like I don't miss nothing. I see everything that's in the damn comments here. All right, let's see what else we got. Read a couple more comments. I gotta show some love to the people that's checking out the show on Spreaker. Rashad, what's next for Nia Jax? Honestly, what I think is probably next for Nia Jax is basically gonna bring her ass out, saying, "Hey, it took 3 women to beat the crap out of me. They realize how much of a threat I am, and that's okay because I'm gonna eventually get to that Raw Women's title. And then if any one of you girls decide you want to get in my way, it don't matter. You can try to come at me one on one. You can come at me with a double team. You can come at me with a triple team. Now that I know the rules to the game, best believe I'm going to be prepared." Nia Jax will eventually become the Raw Women's Champion. I don't know if that'll come courtesy of a feud with Bayley, but I would like to believe that that's probably the direction that you go in now, unless you're going to have Charlotte and Bayley give it another go, or do you maybe go in the direction of Sasha Banks kind of turning on Bayley? I mean, there's so many avenues you can kind of go with that, but Nia Jax is still going to be right there when it's all said and done. Let's see what else we got here. So Chris is providing an update. Apparently, Matt did sound a little bit broken during that WWE interview over on YouTube's channel, but it wasn't fully the broken gimmick. Let's see what else we got. And let's see what else we got. Looks like that is it. Did I get to all the did I get to all the questions here? Looks like I got to all the questions. Let me see here. Da, 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 da. I'm just still going through the questions. Bear with me here, guys. Do I think it's Taker's time to retire? Dude, what did you just watch? What did we all just watch? Now, if you're asking if the timing of the retirement, if you're asking if the timing of retiring is right, yes. I mean, any true Undertaker fan, even the most diehard Undertaker wrestling fan, will tell you that has seen what this guy has been doing within the last 5 years. Oh, fuck. How's this guy gonna just come on out? You feel bad when you watch him come out. I felt bad watching him tonight just as he was making his way to the ring. So I'm with Roman Reigns fan. I'm with thank you Roman, and I'm with thank you Taker. I mean, on the one hand, I'm like thank you because now like Taker, he can just go rest, dude. Thank you for the 35 plus years you've been doing it, man. But thank you. Like seriously, thank you. But thank you to Roman because like Roman retired the Undertaker, and I love that. I love that. I've always been a supporter of Roman Reigns. I've never wavered on that. Never have I wavered on that. Daniel Bryan coming back. What that got to do with WrestleMania, man? I'll forward that to Tuesday night. All right, let me poke my head in the Spreaker chat here and see what questions we got. You trying to claim a prize now? Send me an email, man. Because after I get done with this stream, I'm taking my ass right to bed. That is going to do it for me. Other than that, I'm looking at some more comments here via Spreaker. I'm trying to look up some questions here, see if there's anything maybe I'm missing. No, I'm actually off the hook. I don't see anything in the Spreaker chat, which is good because it looks like you all were talking in Spreaker, and then once you realize there was a YouTube live stream, y'all just pretty much hopped on over there. All right, so I'm gonna go on ahead and I am going to end this stream. That is gonna do it. All right. I appreciate you guys that stayed up late to check this out. Really, I humbly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much in advance. And I apologize to Epic Sports in advance because they're going to have some serious editing to do. Epic Sports, if I was you, my 2 cents from a distance, I honestly would not upload this entire thing on the channel. I would just go on ahead and just break it up into parts because that's asking a lot of the fans that did not check out WrestleMania to basically sit through what almost 2 hours, 30 minutes. It looks like I'm seeing here that we've been on so far. So I don't want to put the I don't want to put the fans through that. I'm going to be coming on live in less than 24 hours here on YouTube as soon as Raw concludes. Because after all, it's the first Raw after WrestleMania. A lot of cool moments is going to be going down. So I'll be here on YouTube to talk about that. And then Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, I'll be live on Spreaker.com interacting with you all on the very latest and some headlines and beyond. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook at the RCWR Show. Make sure you give me a thumbs up, give me the likes, all that good jazz. Subscribe and support me on Patreon as I do a lot of cool exclusive content for you guys that you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. Shout out to all of you for staying up late. Really, I appreciate it. Thank you humbly. Thank you for your interactions. Let's do this again very shortly. I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. A very good night. Good morning.